Down Home News TV, YouTube, what it do, tube? How y'all doing today? First of all, I would like to thank everybody who is subscribed. 50 subscribers. It's pretty awesome. Pretty nice accomplishment. I know my videos could be better, but there's only so much time in a day, and I need some time for myself to relax and just relax, honestly. But I promise y'all the videos will get better. I will start editing more. I just need some time, people. All we have is time, so I'm gonna need a little more. But this video is coming from the Art of Dialogue, and it's featuring Judge Joe Brown. One more thing before I get into this video. I get comments saying, put on a shirt, no shirt, blah, blah, blah. And I take every comment and I soak it in my mind like a sponge. But typically, if you see me without a shirt on, it's because I just came home from work. Well, working then the gym. Got out the shower. My AC's kicking on, so my house isn't thoroughly cooled down yet. So it's not one of those things where I'm trying to showboat or anything like that. Not saying I have the best body or anything, but everybody needs a little improvement. But that's the main reason why. And typically around this time when I'm at home, I'm walking around half naked anyway. But that's maybe too much TMI. But yeah, let's get into this video. Art of the Dialogue. The guest is Judge Joe Brown. And I'm sorry if you are a Kamala Harris fan. This isn't me talking, people. We're just going to let the judge do the talking. Let's check it out.
But I gotta ask you about Kamala Harris. How you feel about her?
She's a piece of shit.
Oh.
I was in California. She lacked professional competence, and she worked on it by hiking up her hemline when she needed influence rather than researching. I was out in California for 15 years doing my show when she was at her peak, and she had a reputation amongst the trial lawyers of being lazy. She just hike her skirt up and try to flirt, and she wasn't that good in the courtroom, if not pretty bad in the courtroom. So I'm not surprised at what she does. She's 60 years old, and I think, listening to her word salad and the way she talks, I think she's got early onset dementia and also some problems with menopausal complications.
I did not know she was in her 60s. She doesn't look 60, honestly, but I've never seen her in person. And I'm pretty sure they got her all glammed up for the TV appearances. But let's continue.
That's that. You see, today is going to be tomorrow, so since it's got to be tomorrow, today we have tomorrow, which is why we are now. Like, what did you say? They have something in mind, but they cannot cognate getting all the way through it, which is why she's famous for this word salad garbage, and she doesn't make a bit of sense. I think since she's only 60, she's actually on a worse track than Biden was. Biden is 20-some years older than her, and he has been senile for a long time. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, when did they start ramping up to do this? 2019. Okay, I was saying Biden has been a failure his whole adult career, a second-rate, third-string player.
Dang.
He's in the game, so he wants to make a name for himself. I considered him for years poor trailer park, urban trailer park trash.
So, I know Judge Joe Brown. He was a prominent judge. Had his own TV show. And I'm pretty sure I did a video on the clip where that one guy a gangster guy. He was bashing Judge Joe Brown and basically walked out the court. But this is just me thinking while he's talking. Do y'all think there's some type of animosity he has seeing her on stage with all the glitz and glamour, almost becoming, well, possibly the next president? I'm not saying that's the case, but I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, I guess, but not saying that's the case. I just want to know what y'all think.
And he's a crook. He's a third stringer. Now, what I said he was going to do is he probably wants to claim fame for being the first person to see to it that a woman got to be president. And what I predicted, I'm slightly wrong on it, was that he was going to get in, try to get elected, and if he got one term, try to get elected for a second one. And then halfway through his term, when he had served 2 years, to retire or resign in her favor. So under the 22nd Amendment, what happens is she can serve for the final 2 years for somebody and then be elected twice more. So that woman would be able to serve 10 years, second only to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who got elected to 4 terms before they put the amendment in place so you could. Now, that said, I think, and my major at UCLA was political science. My analysis is they picked the weakest somebody they could as a figurehead, somebody who had some apparent minority status, which she does not. And what goes on is that you get her, everybody that is everybody would be afraid to go against her because of what she can pass herself off as. And then you get somebody that's easy to control because she's lazy, because she is becoming incoherent, and because she's always tried to do the casting couch to get where she wants. Now, the problem is that'll get somebody to a certain level quickly. But you can't get past that level if you don't have competence and talent. So my thing about it is if I'm crude about it, in this city years ago, I used to represent a whole bunch of pimps and hoes, and I know a hoe when I see one. And I say this, I don't care, women, you do what you want to do if you want to have recreational sex, but when you do the casting couch or anything else for professional purposes to get paid or advance, you a hoe. And she's old hoe. And the problem is what is she supposed to do? Somebody, one of her sycophant slaves comes up and unwraps her in a carpet naked at Putin's feet, and he says, oh yeah, I'm Julius Caesar. He said, no, I got better stuff here already. Plus, I don't want you anyway, you old woman. Get on up.
If you're a brick and mortar business, did you know there's a secret to exploding your social media following and making real money off of it?
You know, Xi Jinping, is he supposed to be impressed? She's doing word salad. Well, we're here today because China and the U.S. are here today, and that's why we have to agree on what we're doing here today. Like, fool, what did you just say? You know, did you say anything? And I've never seen such a salacious mess as I've seen out of her. I think of One West Bank. I had some pretty good properties out in California at one point in time. And I know I had 3 neighbors who had good properties. It was in a place called Ojai, California. And they got caught up about 15, 16 years ago, like a lot of people did, in that mortgage bundling scam stuff that was going on. And there was a bank called One West Bank responsible for it, which was owned by George Soros. The Mnuchin that you have out of the Obama administration was Mnuchin, who was the CEO of One West Bank. Well, there were approximately 1,200 counts of indictments returned against Mnuchin and One West Bank in various counties in California. Well, Mnuchin and Soros financed and arranged and sponsored Kamala to run for Attorney General of California. They got her elected. She got in, and using the authority she had, she promptly consolidated all 5,000.
I never knew that. You know, if you listen to right-wing media, they always talk about how this guy Soros elects attorney generals that are basically soft on crime. I don't know if it's true. But I listen to left media, right media, just to get a gauge and try to form a consensus for myself. But I did not know that. I didn't know. Well, it's just like within the past few years, I started hearing his name going around about electing DAs, but I didn't know it stemmed that far back to the, I think, what was it, the early 2000s? Late 2000s, she was Attorney General. But let's continue.
1,200 counts and dismissed them, and a couple of weeks later, Soros sold One West Bank for $4.2 billion. So after that, they got together and got her finance and got everything organized and made the connections for her, and she got elected to U.S. Senator. Willie Brown made the initial contacts and arrangements so she could get elected as district attorney for San Francisco. She didn't do a very good job. She had a reputation for giving out the stiffest sentences in the United States of America for simple possession of marijuana in San Francisco, for God's sakes.
Well, I guess that's the opposite of what they claim he's doing now. But like I said, I think that was in the late 2010s when she was AG. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm here to learn. If I see something that contradicts what he's saying, I'll go find it, try to find a video on it or something, or actually read it. I haven't done a reading article in a while, but let's continue.
But it was only to young black men. She's not a parent, never had any children, but she went off on this campaign to lock parents up, some of whom actually were shown to have dropped their children off at the school, but they played hooky, so she was putting them in jail. I know my in-laws, now late in-laws because they're dead, and their fine daughter that I was married to, we were divorced. She got a whole lot of money, but anyway, out of me. What wound up happening was there was a liquor store they like to patronize on the way home, and it was a good liquor store, but it got held up a lot, so Kamala's solution was not go get the crooks, but close down the liquor store so nobody would be troubled by it. See, that kind of philosophy, or you've got the serial killer who's got 6 victims, and the families are writing protest letters to her, not hurry up and do something, not why are you giving the guy such a light deal, is why don't you let this man plead guilty to life without parole instead of delaying it for 7 years, trying to make political hay out of it. I was caught up in a thing where this woman who was supposed to be a financial specialist wound up embezzling a lot, $1.5 million from me, about $15 million from some other black celebrities. And most of it was in the San Francisco area, not LA where I was. She consolidated the cases up there in San Francisco, took 5 years to resolve it, let her plead out not the $15 million of embezzlement, but $35,000. The sentence was 5 years in the penitentiary, 4.5 years suspended, 5 years probation. The woman wound up sitting on a bench outside Sybil Branch, which is the women's detention facility in LA County, for 5.5 hours. That's all the time she served, made no restitution. And la-di-da, I'm through with it now, I don't care, on her behalf. Like, where's our money? You know, what did you do here? You didn't even consult with us. You did this on a surprise basis. There's $15 million gone. What happened? It's the kind of thing she would do, see. So it's like, that was not a good professional performance. And then she was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black? Now, a little side story. When I had my show, let's say this has been 26 years ago, I had two beautiful women that I thought were sisters.
Before he goes on, I just want to comment on him stating that they put Caucasian as their ethnicity on documents. I think that's what he was referring to, but I see a lot of Hispanic people, they do that as well. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but I guess possibly think it'll give them a better chance of landing a job. I don't know. It just made me think about that. But
On the show, and they laughed one time when we all went to a happy hour and said, "You think we're black, don't you?" "Yeah, aren't you?" "No, we're Hindu." One of them said, "My mother's a Hindu Brahmin caste, and my father was Hindu warrior caste. He took an oath to the family to protect her. They fell in love, eloped, and now we got a death warrant on us. We can't go back to India." So, yeah, and then they gave me two books. The guys were Hindu, and they were very dark, but they cut their hair off close, grew beards, and started dressing and acting black, and they got financial aid. One of them, I think, went through medical school that way, masquerading for being black, and somebody else did it. So she went to Howard, and by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did when she was running against him. Well, the yearbook that she put out there that you can still get online from her high school in Canada shows she went from kindergarten through 12th grade in Canada, never went to school in the United States of America. She was born, by the way, in the same hospital that my ex-wife was born in, the same 12-month period. And my late mother-in-law was, in fact, a pediatric nurse in that hospital when Kamala was born. And the birth certificate that she has is interesting because the confusion comes from a mistake. On the birth certificate, it lists the mother's race as Caucasian, national origin India, and religion Hindu. For the father, it does not list national origin. It does not list religion. It does not list anything about that, but where it says race, they put national origin in Jamaica by mistake. Now, if you've ever been to Jamaica and you go over to St. Elizabeth Parish, you see all the high, bright, and white that live in Jamaica. So I've got a good friend retired from law enforcement. He has a white wife, blonde-haired, blue eyes, but she was born in Jamaica. Her parents were born in Jamaica. One's blonde and blue-eyed, the other one's red-haired and gray-eyed. And they happen to be related to the King of England because they are aristocrats in England, but they were born in Jamaica. So if you go over there, you see people from Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, Kenya, South Africa, you name it. It's part of the British Commonwealth, and nobody needed a passport, and you could just go in and out.
Honestly, I could listen to Judge Joe Brown all day. Not just because who he is or anything, but that's kind of the reason why. But I just love talking to older people. I don't know why. My grandpa, I used to talk to him about how he grew up in the South, and yeah, he was pretty unfiltered the way he described things, but it was crazy. But just listening to his stories, I was like, dang, man, I don't think I'd be able to make it back then in them days. I might have to just do myself in, man. I don't know if I can handle all that, but it's crazy. I'm joking anyway. I don't think I'd ever do that to myself, but yeah, I don't want to go through the whole video because I was listening to a Charleston White Say Cheese interview, and they was talking about people like myself, even though I've been doing YouTube videos maybe about a year. Said they was going to start copyrighting their stuff, and yeah, I mean, if there's a way I could get some of these guests over to my place and interview them or go to their place, that'd be lovely, but right now I'm not at that point. I need every little penny I could get right now. I mean, but it is what it is. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know what y'all think about it. This is my first time listening to it as well with y'all, so if y'all want to go finish the rest, about 10 minutes left. Art of the Dialogue, Down Home News TV, I'm Dre.